we got into conversation before we should, really, because you were reminiscing a little bit about Glastonbury and performing at Glastonbury.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of interest. Tell us a little bit about the tale.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, it was well. They had to close the stage off.
The whole
area. They had to close the field, and it was crazy because we were told before we went on, there's a few more people than expected, because we expected like 3,000.
I mean, there was a lot going on before the show, and we've never had that before, and had, you know, so...
Yeah, it was amazing.
It feels good though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was such a celebration. They really got into it, and it was
Well, I suppose
amazing.
if you insist on coming back and getting together again after a while, that's what happens.
That is what
People
happens.
get interested.
I guess so.
Yeah, it's a little bit more now, though, than 9 years ago, because we first reformed, like, 9 years ago under the name MKS, and then we won the SUGABABES name back. We had a few shows, but this is like... I don't know
You
what's
might need
happening.
to explain a little bit more of that in a moment, about
okay.
the name going away and then coming back, but we'll come back to that in a minute. Shall we look back at some of the songs?
Yeah.
So, Siobhan, there's a top in there you should have.
Oh, from Overload,
From
yeah.
Overload, but you said it doesn't fit anymore.
Probably not. I haven't tried it.
I think, see, this when you do revival, the outfits are part of it as well. So you never know. You should bring this back. And then, Muchu, you were talking about the
gaffer
funky
tape.
hairstyle that actually hurt there.
Yeah, round. I had like gaffer tape and rope all in my hair, so it was quite a lot going on. But I definitely wouldn't do that again.
And Keisha, we'll talk about control as well, about like how much of your body image and images you might have had. And Keisha, you were saying that there was an eye infection.
Yeah, so I had contacts in for the video Too Lost in You, and one of them became infected, and so my eye blew up, and so I had to like swipe my hair across one side of my face just to
Rock and
get
roll,
through.
just carry on.
Things you have to do.
Yeah.
Now, so go back to the conversation we were having before. So the people who don't know, so you were performing again, the three of you together, but you weren't able to perform under the name SUGABABES.
No.
So can you just give us the quick explanation of how that was and now how you can?
Well, it was definitely a legal fight, pretty
Right.
much, but we feel like we're the underdogs. We stuck together and through the 9 years, and just, you know, that's who we are. We came up with the name when we were, you know, kids. We were like 11 and 12 years old, and we just felt like it's actually ours, so we just stuck together, and yeah.
And so it came to be, and now you are able to perform in that name again.
Yeah.
I alluded to it. You were talking about your hair, the hairstyle, and actually being painful. When people say you suffer for your art, now you're back together. You have been for 9 years, but now you are older than you were when you first entered the industry. How much more in control do you feel? And when you look back, what kind of would you have said to yourselves back then?
Oh my God, I think for me personally, I think I would have just most probably enjoyed it and embraced things a lot more and appreciated it. The Second Chance van is amazing because we get to do it all over again, but be more, you know, open-minded about everything. So, yeah, and it's a bit more relaxed and we're having fun right now, so it's good.
Yeah, for sure. I think we always were one of the lucky groups that were able to have a form of control, just as far as like our first still that we had was very much like in our favour.
What do you mean still? The pictures?
Well, I think with bands in general, they
deal,
do pop bands, sorry, record deal, and just we've always written our own stuff. We've always.
That's really
But I think
important.
but I think as we've gotten older, we've realised that it's the music business, and that's the difference. So yeah.
You don't take it so personally.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
well,
good.
that's
a good place to be.
And that's different now compared to when you first started in terms of social media.
Oh, yes,
there was
and I'm
none.
glad we missed that era as kids, because that would have just been...
There literally was no social media back then.
Thank God you wouldn't have been able to go to the under-18 raves, would we?
No.
Absolutely not.
Now, you tell me, this period of time, the early 2000s, are there were quite a lot of girl bands and boy bands around at the time. Was there a time when this girl band, the SUGABABES, sort of met a boy band for the first time, and a kind of like a moment at, I don't know, what are they, Top of the Pops or one of those places where you hadn't met, and then there was a kind of, did you sort of meet
with other
much?
boy bands.
Oh, there was loads.
We probably, there was like shows like Top of the Pops and stuff back then, so you met.
Now look, something is going on.
She's like,
something is
we
going
have
on
tons
here.
of stories, but it was always really great, like when we did like things like Smash Hits or even just
amazing,
because you're so isolated. Many people don't know that when you're like traveling so often, it's just the three of you and then your glam squad and tour managers. So when we got to see other,
people,
artists and stuff, we had fun.
Who's what?
Puff Daddy he threw an amazing party years ago in
the MTV party.
MTV Europe Awards,
and then we're also good friends with a lot of the UK bands as well, like the Blues, the Blazing Squads. There was loads. Loads.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Basically, all the English, like.
From that
There's a kind of
era.
assumption. I think people make an assumption that you all know, maybe you do now all know each other, but there's an assumption that you all know you're all meeting each other all the time, and clearly that's not the case because you're busy and you're working.
Oh, God,
Yeah, I think just life, I think just with anything, it's almost like when you're with everyone like all the time and then you have to split yourself so much. I mean, as you get older, even more so now, because then you become a mum and all these things. But back then you're like splitting yourself between, you've got
School.
us, then you've got school, and then you've got your friends, and then you've got your family. And if your family's big like mine, you've got, you know, the Buchanans and the Browns, and it's just like, how do you fit everyone in? So I think it was a balancing act, and it still is.
What have the conversations changed then? Now, you mentioned family, you mentioned being mum. I mean, when you're talking, and you're still creating music, I'm assuming, but that is in between the runs, the school runs, not school runs, the school runs, the nappy changes, the nursery runs, you know, whatever. How are those conversations now?
Well, it's tricky this summer because we've just been sort of back-to-back rehearsals, summer shows, you know, now the promo for the tour and the creative for the tour. So actually we haven't been able to get into the studio this summer.
Yeah.
So we are just kind of slammed. But you know, it is really important to live your personal life as well, you know, and as you said, we've got our families now, and we make sure that we make that work for each other.
I know. I'm sorry. I don't know how old various children are. But
I've got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old.
okay.
Matthias.
I've got a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, you should see them together. It's amazing. I haven't got kids yet.
Okay.
We'll be seeing them soon, hopefully.
Can I ask about you tell me whatever you wish, your 17-year-old. Children can be quite blunt sometimes, can't they?
Oh, yeah,
They'll
she
speak their
is.
mind. And I don't know whether the first time she was aware of, you know, what you did and what you do. And have you ever had any funny conversations along those lines?
To be honest, actually, 1 o'clock this morning, she messaged me saying, with a video saying, all I was trying to do was watch TV and you keep popping up on it. And it was an advert on YouTube of our tour. And she sent me the video and she was like, I'm just trying to watch TV and you just keep coming up on my screen.
Is she proud or embarrassed?
Very proud.
Oh,
very, very proud. She comes to all of our shows.
But she's just not. But she's not like. She's not like, oh my God, my mum's a sugar babe. She's just like, yeah, it's my auntie Siobhan, my aunt Keisha,
Yeah, she calls us auntie, and I just
it's
love
just
that.
like, honestly, she's good.
She's proud of all of us.
And yours are a lot younger, obviously.
Yes. So they're still.
Do they just think Mummy just jumps up and down and dances a lot?
Yeah, I think my son, who's 4.5, just about understands maybe this time around. Like, because I tried to get him to watch us on Graham Norton, but he was 2.5, so
Yeah.
that didn't
That's a bit
compute.
much.
As entertaining as Graham is.
I want
yeah.
him to come and see us at one of our shows later in the summer.
That'd be
And then I think the penny might drop
And so you're doing quite a bit of live stuff?
a lot.
Yeah, we've got a tour. The tickets are out now.
Hi, Hamish Haggis here. Sugababes lineup has changed 3 times before returning to the original lineup in 2012. They performed under the name MKS for legal reasons before reclaiming the right to be called the Sugababes again.